Welcome back to Dealing with the Devils. It's Jack and JD, and Duke just won big in Cameron, 74-52, behind Grayson Allen's 25-point performance. JD, what did you think?
Well, there were a lot of positives for Duke, and we'll go through that as we go through the starting lineup. But you gotta say, Virginia Tech could not have played worse.
Right. And, usually I feel like at least in the past couple of videos, we've definitely been a bit more negative on the Duke side. They've hit a bit of a rut here. And so while Virginia Tech was poor tonight, to say the least here, Duke did play well. I thought they played well in the first half and for most of the second half as well. They moved the ball much better tonight. Overall, it's the first time in I don't know how many games that both Grayson Allen and Gary Trent have been shot the ball well.
Exceedingly well, and from 3-point range, and they made it look easy. Although a couple of aerobatic shots by Grayson, but overall, it was a nice game, and maybe this is the start of some motivation, but let's break it down by the starters, Jack.
Right, so Grayson Allen, obviously, 25 points, 6 assists, playing more of the point guard role for the Blue Devils, but was much more aggressive tonight from the beginning, looking for his own shot. And when it started to go down, you could tell he had more confidence, especially coming off of a solid Georgia Tech game. While the North Carolina game, he only played well in the first half. The game prior to that, the Notre Dame one, he played well as well. So he had a nice stretch for the past 2 of 3 games heading into this one. Played well again today. So you got to think Grayson has figured it out here late in ACC play.
I certainly hope so, as we're already in mid-February and we hit that stretch where they lost 3 out of 4 games, including that loss to St. John's, which must have stung. But here we are 2 games in a row with Grayson scoring 20 points, and it really was a positive sign. Gary Trent has just been stellar. They just need to keep getting him into the offense, and I think his shooting is as good as almost at this point as any, the JJ Reddicks. Grayson when he's hot. Gary Trent is just like when the ball is in his hand, you now have that feeling it's going to go in.
Right, and the most remarkable part about that is Gary Trent didn't come in necessarily with that kind of reputation. He came in surely as a scorer, but no one really thought he'd be this type of shooter. And in the beginning of the season, he was very up and down. But once we got into the end of non-conference play, beginning ACC play, from then on, he's just been so consistent. And then the third guy who was just very good tonight was Wendell Carter Jr., who got off to a slow start for sure in this one, 1 of 5 shooting, but then made his next 4, finishing the night with 13 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. A very Wendell Carter stat line where he seems to hit on everything.
He was able to do his. It's almost the same stat line you would have seen even if Bagley was playing.
Right.
13 points, 13 rebounds, a couple blocks, and if there's any criticism, and this really is mild, is that with Mo Bags on the bench, I would have hoped that Wendell's numbers would have been a little higher, but in a night where they're raining threes, it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, while he only finished with 4 assists, he did turn the ball over more than he usually does, 4 times. They ran the offense through him more often, and while 4 assists is kind of typical of Wendell Carter at this point in the season, he may have been responsible for a few more baskets going down from the three-point line where he kicked the ball out and then there was another pass in the rotation. But I thought there was a nice stretch in the second half where him and Grayson were going back and forth. Grayson found him on a lob pass, but then Wendell returned the favor off an offensive rebound, hit Grayson for a three-point shot, and I thought they had a nice chemistry as well in this game.
I have to agree, and then we're back to trade Duval, lineman. I don't understand. I just don't understand what he is thinking. Again, 4 turnovers, not enough. When the turnovers are higher than your assists for your point guard, that's just not a good sign. And while, I like the three-pointer, I liked his lob to Wendell, it's just flashes, and you really got to see a consistent leadership from your point guard, and I guess I'm beginning to start to think it's just not there.
Yeah, Duval's decision-making has been tough to watch at times this season. The lob today was to DeLaurier, actually, but he did have one lob which I believe was supposed to go to Wendell Carter, but it was he attempted to throw it between 3 guys and the ball never made it there. And there's just been a couple of times, and it seems to be getting worse and not better. And so that's really where the concern comes in. But they tried to sit him down for one game and have him come off the bench and have him learn. That didn't really seem to have much of an effect. He has played with more energy on the defensive side of the ball the last couple of games, which has been a positive. But really, you want to see him run the offense and return to that player he was in the beginning of the year, where he used his speed so well to create havoc, but was also he did a great job at the beginning of the season at taking care of the basketball.
This is going to be very interesting because at this time, you look at Trey Duval and you say, is this guy going in the NBA draft in the first round? And I would say the answer to that is no. There are so many more talented point guards out there. And if he doesn't go in the first round and he makes a decision to stay, this is going to get very, very interesting, because then you'll have Duval with Tyus' younger brother.
Well, right, Trey Jones. But I feel like it'd be too difficult for Duval to stay. I don't envision that happening. Now, to wrap up with Blue Devil players that will be here probably next year, Marquise Bolden and Javin DeLaurier, both, had their moments in this game, although Bolden didn't get himself into the game offensively, didn't take any shots, but he did block a couple of shots. I thought he was, he moved his feet well defensively. Not, quite where he had been in previous games, but DeLaurier, I thought, had a nice game. It's been a while since he'd had one. Finished the lob, played good defense, and actually limited himself to only 2 fouls on the night, when usually he would have finished with at least 4.
Yeah, that was that really strange set where he had White, Drang, and DeLaurier along with Trent and Grayson, and it was very interesting. It didn't ignite anything, but they didn't lose anything when they were in there. And I thought that was really interesting to watch how they had him there. I continue to think that Bolden is just much better when he's down near the basket. When he comes up top, he's very lost. He's very slow. His footwork is too slow for a big guy to handle the ball at the top of the key. His decision making is just not quick enough. When he's down low, though, he's starting to show some flashes.
Yeah, well, for sure. No one's expecting Bolden to handle the ball by the three-point line anytime soon, but he has shown lots of positive signs here late in the season that say to me, for next year's team, he could give them a good 15 to 20 minutes as their primary center. Now, speaking of the future here, the Blue Devils play again Sunday against Clemson, who's now number 11 team in the country despite losing one of their best players, Dante Grantham. And they're in the midst of a close game currently as we speak in overtime against Florida State. JD, I'm guessing you don't know too much about Clemson, but give me something for that game.
Honestly, it's all yours.
Well, they have a number of good guards, Marquise Reed and Duval, along with their big man Elijah Thomas. But without Grantham, I'm surprised they've still been playing as well in conference play. The fact, though, if Duke gets Bagley back, I think they should be fine, especially since, I just think that the combination of Carter and Bagley will be too much size for Clemson. But the game will be in Clemson. This is a very good team, and, it wouldn't surprise me if Duke goes down in Clemson on Sunday. But all right, that's it for Dealing with the Devils. We'll catch you guys Sunday after the game in Clemson. Peace.